A big red flag for me is when they post overly provocative stuff online.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Insecure.
Why can Charlotte be picky about her men in terms of her preferences, but I have one preference? You've called me insecure.
That's
for
because
it.
I just really disagree with that.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Geese Feeders. We invited two of our good friends and self-proclaimed feminists, Becca and Charlotte, to come onto the podcast and debate with us about a multitude of topics regarding intergender dynamics.
Never seen a brown guy in a pool picture.
Before we get into this episode, I'd like to say that this episode is sponsored by nobody, because why would anyone want to monetize a 43 subscriber channel? Thank you for supporting us, by the way. These topics get deep. The girls' social media are going to be in the description if you want to give them a follow. Please don't send any hate. You're going to want to stick around for the entirety of this video because let's just say we had some difficult discussions here men and women do not talk about publicly. The full uncut hour plus episode is in the description to listen to in case you suspect we're taking moments out of context. This is a big one, boys and girls. Let's go on with it.
I'm going to say some controversial stuff, and not about myself.
Prepare yourself for it.
I have a couple red flags that have just come to mind. Specifically about relationships. This is not just pursuing a girl on the basis of fun.
Fun.
A big red flag for me when looking for an LTR, long-term relationship, is when they post overly provocative stuff online.
Ooh.
Insecure.
That's quite
That's
interesting.
what I
So-
instantly say.
So, I've been labelled insecure for having a preference.
I wouldn't say it's preference though, because it's not to do with you, it's to do with them.
But isn't that what a preference is? Stuff that you want from
No,
them?
because you don't control what they do, what they
Um,
post.
I didn't say I can control what they do.
No.
I said, if they do it, I'm not going to have a relationship
Can
with
be.
them.
I feel like it's very. What's the word? Controversial, but like I think it's quite inconsiderate. Not
Inconsiderate.
want to get
Because
into a relationship with someone just because of what they post online.
you relate all of that to insecurity. That the guy's pretty much insecure.
Definitely. Like,
What is it that you don't like about it?
yeah.
What is the thing that puts you off?
What it is, looking at it logically with no emotion, because I'm not looking at this with emotion, is that they are allowing themselves to stay in the market. I think we spoke about it briefly on call before. This is that sexual market value. One of the females' main sexual market value is their looks. Unfortunately, that is the reality we live in. Guys mainly look for looks when it goes to approaching a girl, you know. And when let's say they're posting lots of bikini photos or provocative angles online, that's showing, to me at least, that they are still allowing themselves to be on the market whilst we're in a relationship.
No. I'd say it shows more about you that you feel that
I don't feel nothing about it.
just because someone posts a bikini picture, it means that they see themselves as on the market. I feel it.
Yeah, I
it
don't like the word on the
So
market.
what do you think is the reason why they do it then?
I
It
think
feels good.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, personally, the things that I put on my Instagram, I post when I think I look the best, and when I think I look nice.
Okay.
I personally think I look nicer in like a skin tight clothes or in a bikini than I do right now in this massive jumper and massive paper trousers. You know, so you know, that's like a massive problem with social media, is that you want to look people put it when you're looking at your best, and that's what I think my best is.
Exactly, and I feel like if someone were to say you can't post that, then they're just going to be bringing you down, controlling what you do, and you're going to end up feeling worse off for it, and the relationship will never work.
Okay, I'll rebut that in saying again that, you know, I'm not going to control what my future girlfriend does. I'm just saying that a preference of mine is that if they post a lot of revealing photos, I won't be in a relationship with them.
Is that because you see them as yours? You see them as that's my not possession, because that's a bit old.
You're the only one allowed to see.
You're
that
the only
sort
one.
of stuff.
That's your.
Because I don't post something on Instagram like that and thinking, I'm in the market.
I think people can post whatever they want.
rules.
People can post what they want. I don't see
Yeah.
girls posting revealing photos online and think, oh, why are you doing that? You bad person. I just, personal preference. If I'm looking for a girlfriend and I look at their Instagram and they're posting revealing stuff, I'm just probably not going to pursue that. Do you know what I mean?
But what if they stopped posting it after they were with you, but they already had it on their Instagram?
Then,
Do you want them to delete it?
fair enough. I'm not saying that there aren't exceptions to the rule. I'm saying that probability shows
If they
that
were really fit, you'd overlook it.
I don't know. It depends how bad the page is, if you get what I mean, or how revealing the page
Well,
is.
if
I
there's
guess.
OnlyFans, that'd be like no.
That's an instant no.
Or, yeah, I agree.
No OnlyFans.
But I just want to go back to my point. So would you say there would need to be some kind of mutual understanding between the guy and the girl. Would you allow that? And if the guy said, "Oh, I don't want you to do it,"
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got to understand what they're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
But,
because that's what a relationship is. That's how I see it, mutual understanding. Like if
but they've
a guy,
also got to understand your wants and needs, and if they're not matching up, then.
So if a guy were to say, "Oh, you're posting pictures, I'm going to break up with you," do you think that's a perfectly acceptable way to do it? Just do it.
They're not,
You'll be okay with that.
they're not meant to be with you, no.
Yeah,
No, that makes
I
sense.
agree.
Yeah.
And
That would put
I
me
want to
off
add
as
that, you know, a way that a girl feels about what they post on Instagram in terms of when they're trying to get into a relationship is technically irrelevant, because the reality of doing that is that lots of men are going to be pursuing them purely because they are posting sexually provocative photos online. So I'm not saying that I don't trust my girlfriend if she was to post that stuff online. What I am saying is that no matter what she says, there's still the guys trying to pursue her because of that.
But there'll be people trying to pursue her when she's in a club, when she's walking down the street.
If she's like attractive, it would just.
Yeah, and I can't control that.
You could say, "Sure."
But I can say that I don't want to be with someone if they post this stuff that they know is going to get this attention. They're not. Look, they can say, "I'm not going to entertain the guys," and I couldn't believe them, you know. But it's still going to happen.
Is that more trust issues on your part then?
No, because I just said that it's not a matter of trust, it's just a matter of preference. Because no matter what, you know, I can completely believe it, you know, I believe you, you know. You're posting this stuff and you're not going to message guys or entertain other guys while we're in a relationship, I believe you. But it's not you, it's the guys.
Yeah.
And you're still
then you
allowing
shouldn't-
yourself to be in that market.
But it's
You
not a
shouldn't-
market,
no.
that's the issue.
market.
Well, it may
You
not
shouldn't
feel
even,
like it's a
reflect
market.
on her. If it's about the other guys, then go speak to the other guys that are like putting stuff on her posts or something. It shouldn't be about her.
Well, I'm not trying to control anyone.
I mean, I think
It's just a
It
preference at
sounds
the end
like
of the day.
it though.
Yeah.
But why is this?
It
Why is
does
this a
sound
thing?
like
I'm not
it.
saying this is you girls, but I'm saying in general. You know, girls can have a lot of girls have a long list of preferences that they want. They have to be a certain height. They have to not use, but you say that other girls say that they need to make a certain amount of money. They need to be confident. They need to go out and go on trips with me. They need to have a certain way. They need to treat my parents with a certain respect. A bunch of different things. But I say one thing, that I don't want a girl to post sexually revealing photos, and then you call me insecure for it.
Yeah, because I feel like it's something that's completely like separate from you, if you know what I mean. Like if we're saying we want them to be a certain way,
I feel like
It's
you're
more-
also saying it's a definite no. Whereas I have a preference that a guy would be 6 foot, but I'm not going to be like, no, you're not 6 foot.
No,
So
No,
Okay,
I did say there's exceptions. I said, you know, there's definitely a chance that, you know, depending on how amazing of a girl they are, I might think about it, but the chances are on a level of probabilities, I'm not going to pursue that.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. You know, I think it's kind of like that they're your, you know, they're your other person.
you still see it as a sense of insecurity rather than like
I
a
just see
valid
it as such
reason.
an
I don't really
old-fashioned
see
way
it
of
as
thinking.
yeah.
I just think
not
it's
insecure. I don't think
like
they're
if
insecure for
everyone
doing that.
keeps thinking that, then women are still going to be seen as, I can't do that out of fear of what my other half's thinking. I'm can't show my body. Like, why should a woman's body even be sexualized? I'm kind of in that way of thinking.
But
like,
doesn't the man have to be conscious of the stuff that the girl wants in a relationship as well? Let's say one girl says, you need to make a certain amount of money. What if he starts earning less one year? He's thinking, shit, I'm not providing what my partner wants of me.
Yeah.
You know, so it does go both ways, you know.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying as well is that you're saying it as in like she's posting these pictures as if she's in the market. First of all, I don't really like
You don't like that
that
concept?
phrasing.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. You know, a girl can say they're not in the market when they post stuff because they can feel they're not in the market. But the reality of it is that when you do post that type of stuff, you're in the market whether you want to say it or not.
So do you not like? Would you not like seeing them photos because you don't like them photos, or is it just purely because other people are going to see them?
Yeah. So it's because you're saying
What is specifically that puts you off? Because
think-
other people.
No, I'm saying
With
that
sexual
you
market
trust the
value,
girl.
it's in the name of it. It's a market, you know. And a main sexual market value of a woman, unfortunately, the reality is it's looks. So if they're using their primary sexual market value and putting it out there, whether they say I'm not looking for anything else or not, or like, I'm loyal to you, I can trust them, but they're still doing something that's different to that. You get what I mean? And it's not a matter of insecurity. Again, preferences. I would rather just not a girl that does that. I would rather a girl that is more how do I word it? conservative, I guess. Yeah, I'd say that. And also, you know, I think with feminism, I'm not saying you are feminists, but I'm saying in general.
I am a feminist.
Okay, with feminism, you know, the idea of feminism is that it pushes choice. You know, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You have the choice of preference. You have the choice of what lifestyle you lead.
It's equal.
It's about equality.
Exactly. So,
not choice.
well, choice as well. Well, so is it about equality, but then also not choice? Because I'm making a preference.
It's having the ability to have the choice. It's not the choice itself. It's having the same opportunities as a man would, and not being judged for it.
Okay, so if you have the ability to have the choice of preferences, then I should be able to have the choice of preferences as well.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. For me, I just don't see it as a preference, but that's
Okay.
that's fine.
That's fair enough. What's one of your main red flags?
My main red flags are.
Come on.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing. So,
Or if they post that type of thing?
Oh.
Yeah, it's.
Didn't see that
Yeah,
from you.
like, honestly, I used to think that I would be fine with it, like the girl can do whatever she wants and stuff like that. But then I realised that, you know, as I've grown up and we kind of learned about this whole male perspective, I realised that, you know, there needs to be mutual understanding between me and the girl. Like, if I were to get in a relationship, I'll be like, oh, I don't like you doing that and stuff like that. And it should be like, okay, that's fine, I'll break up with you, but that's fine with me. Like, I'll need to find a girl that would understand me and I understand them.
Yeah.
It's that mutual understanding we talked about.
I think what we're trying to say is that if we're looking for our future wife, I'm not going to go and he's not going to go for a girl that posts photos like that. Yeah. And I think that's a fair preference to have. Not necessarily, because a girl can be...
That comes with like, so you're not going to get with someone, this is just hypothetically speaking, who's had sex with loads of people. It's like the kind of the same thing. You're judging them for what they've done in their past. Or who they are. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily reflect on them as a bad person.
Would you not say that...
something online, you know?
Well, one thing that is generally agreed in reality is that guys care about a girl's past and girls care about a guy's future. So if you know you're dating a guy and he's probably in the future going to be a bum, you're going to drop him, most likely. Yeah. And the same way, if I look into a girl's past and she slept with lots of guys, there may be exceptions. Maybe she thought every guy was the one, and then they slept together, and then he used her or something, and that's fair.
But
you know.
What's wrong with enjoying sex and having like loads of sexual partners? I don't see it as a bad.
I didn't say you can't enjoy it.
No.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just said it's a preference. That if I was looking for a long-term partner, I wouldn't want a girl
I don't
with...
see it as a negative though. I don't see how you can see it as a negative.
I mean, we're arguing that, you know, a guy should have the right to prefer not having a girl that's very sexual in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking for much. I just want a girl...
Yeah, but then you'd want them to be sexual as well. You're looking for someone that's really good isn't sexual, doesn't want to look good, but you'd want them to look good for you.
Not necessarily, because one of my preferences... my preferences definitely don't include I want my girl to be amazing at sex. Do you know what I mean? We can work on that.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
One of my preferences is that most likely, you know, unless there's exceptions to the rule, if you've got a really high body count, then I probably won't want to be with you.
I think it matters.
Yeah.
That's fine if you don't think it matters. It's a preference for me.
Okay, but do you think it should be the same the other way around?
Yeah,
completely.
You think if men have high body counts, that's a bad thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to argue.
I do believe that men and women are slightly different in this regard, but I would say you can have any preference you want. Yeah. But I think...
when a guy has a high body count, I wouldn't say I'm absolutely thrilled. But I wouldn't be like, oh, absolutely not.
The sanity of it all, though.
Yeah.
You know, like, just, obviously, if they have any STDs.
Oh, well, of course,
That's the only thing that would put me off, not how many, like...
So if there was a guy with a fairly high body count, but you knew he didn't have an STD or any type of disease, it's fine.
Sex is sex, it's not...
I don't know.
But I think that's where the male and female perspective is different. The same way about male and female friendships, we have slightly different perspectives on it, because you've said generally that girls can not view their male friends in a sexual way, whereas we say it's pretty hard for them not to. Yeah. It's the same with this, you know.
I don't like the thought of like going out, and so say if he's got a massive body count, and that girl's slept with him, and that girl's slept with him.
Oh, that's a different situation. If he slept with all your mates, then it's like...
No, like just like people in the club.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and you can say...
But then I wouldn't be like, oh, God, no,
he's got
a high...
good then.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, God, he's got such a high body count. No way.
But you would be against it, would you say? Or
not
would
even against it.
I
just would...
It would make you uncomfortable.
No, not...
What if all the girls that you knew slept with him?
Yeah, it's just not... It's not great.
It's not great, yeah.
Okay, let me
Probably it's not
So
bad.
Ideal,
it's that-
but you prefer.
in society, if a girl has a high body count or just slept with quite a few guys, they're seen as lower in value. Yes. But with a guy, if they have slept with a lot of guys, their value increases. Like the guys around them will think, wow, like he's a cool guy. He's got a lot of access to women. And I'll explain it. It's because of this reason. Statistics have shown that around 80% of guys, I'm paraphrasing, 80% of women are going for the top 20% of men.
Yes.
Which means, hypothetically, that the majority of guys, about 80% of guys, are living in sexual scarcity. Which means for the majority of guys, it's very tough for them to find a sexual partner. Whereas with a girl, they have all that 80% of guys of options. Doesn't mean they will sleep with them, but it means they have the options. And this means the girls technically have the abundance when it comes to sexual access. And this is why when girls have a high body count, guys will look at them and go, oh, why are they doing that? Well, I'm probably not going to date them now.
Yeah.
And it's specifically because they know the girl has access to a lot more guys than, let's say, a guy has access to girls. So when a guy has a high body count, a lot of guys will generally revere them because they know subconsciously that this guy has high value because he must be in the top 20% of guys if he's getting a lot of sexual access. And that's not me saying that in order to have high value, you have to have a high body count as a man, but I am saying that it's an indication that he has high value.
Yeah, it's a certain characteristic. Like, would you say it's kind of the opposite on the other way? Like, a high value man is a man who would have a lot of sexual partners, but a high value woman wouldn't in that aspect.
It's not necessarily that he has lots of sexual partners in his past, but it's the fact that he could have lots of sexual partners. If you know that this guy is highly desirable, that makes him more valuable. If you know that a girl has slept with a lot of guys, it makes her less desirable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
it's
me
the attraction,
angry,
yeah.
but
It's true.
it's
Yeah,
true.
so-
I think it's just such it just goes back to old-fashioned ways of thinking, though. It's just
I mean, it's old. Yeah, I completely
it's
get what you're saying.
changing.
I
It's
can see
changing
that.
more and more
Quite
now.
conservative, yeah.
It's old-fashioned in the sense that what I'm saying, you wouldn't hear a lot of guys say that. But the
Yeah.
statistics are the statistics in that they're not old-fashioned. They are just reality.
It just stems from like the men having the power and then them not wanting anyone else to have their property. That's what I think.
But wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I do think that, but I think that's like a separate thing. But I agree with that, and then I also agree with what you're saying.
Would you not argue that the girls generally have the leverage when it comes to dating? In the sense that, when it comes to dating, it's the guy trying to fight for sexual access with the girl. Whereas when it comes to relationships, there's a lot more to lose for the guy in comparison to the girl generally.
Yeah.
So it's the girl fighting for that access to a relationship, meaning the guy gets more leverage.
In today's society, yeah.
Today's just like, no, it's never happened before, it's just today that's been happening.
Yeah.
No, like, for example, like your Tinder profile, like, do you go no to a lot of guys, or just say yes to a lot of
I'm
guys?
saying no to a lot of guys. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Could you give a percentage? That doesn't match up with that percentage.
90%, I'd be like no.
90% no.
Yeah, I'm picky. Don't burn.
You should.
Would you say that you control the relationship in that kind of aspect at the beginning part? You're the one that approaches the guy. In fact, it looks like the guy approaches you, but you allowed the guy to approach you in that aspect.
Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't go up to a guy and be like, oh hey, but if he came up to me, and then what you're saying, me allowing him,
Yeah, in a sense.
giving
Yeah.
him a chance, yeah.
I just caught something that you said to Charlotte when she was talking about Tinder. You said something along the lines of I'm being picky about it, and you said as you should.
Yeah.
So my question is that why can Charlotte be picky about her men in terms of her preferences? Because she's clearly disqualifying a large percentage of guys. But I have one preference in that I don't want a girl who is posting revealing pictures, and you've called me insecure
That's
for
because
it.
I just really disagree with that statement that you've made.
Okay.
That's not because you're not allowed to be picky. You're completely within your own right to not want to get with certain people for certain things. For me, it's just I really disagree with the man in a relationship controlling what the woman posts.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would say again that's not a matter of control, it's just a matter of preference. He just won't be in a relationship. It's not you can't do that. It's if you're doing that, then that's cool. But we're not
But
gonna
if
be
if you were in a relationship with someone, they started doing that, you would end
If
up.
they started doing it, then I'd be like, yeah. Well,
That's control.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
me.
Yeah.
I would say that's a boundary. A guy's not allowed to have boundaries.
No, I just
What
want
they
to
want in a
extrapolate
relationship.
further into that. When you see relationships, would you be okay with the idea of the male being dominant towards the woman? or would you want that equality in that
What are you
sense?
talking about?
No, dominant, like in the sense that
Dominant
because
how?
because the man provides the woman's security. In a
Yeah.
sense, like he's the one that
Yeah,
provides the
to
house,
be
for
fair,
example, to
I
live in,
chat a
the
lot of
car
shit
to live in, the
about-
money and
I
everything.
do chat a lot of shit about being old fashioned, but there are
Yeah.
certain old fashioned values that I do like. I
Yes,
like feeling
so-
safe. You know, I want them to stick up for me.
Okay, so
You know what I mean?
so
Like
what you're saying is that you typically want a traditional man, a man that will traditionally protect you,
traditional, yes, but not have the old fashioned values.
but that technically
So,
isn't
like-
old-fashioned value if they're doing these things. This is what I'm
So
saying
like,
though,
my
because
boyfriend doesn't care
because-
what I post, and that I really appreciate him for that.
and that's fine.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
he doesn't
no,
have that
that's
preference,
completely fine.
and I wouldn't say he's any less for thinking that. You know, not having that preference. That's interesting that you said that though, because it's interesting that a lot of girls do want traditional men, but then men want traditional women, and they're attacked for that. Because traditionally, girls in the past have had low body counts and not been revealing to anyone that isn't their partner, and that's one of my preferences. So I want
I get what
technically,
you're
I want a
saying.
traditional woman, and I'll add stuff to that. I would want typically to be the more assertive one in the relationship, which is traditional as well. So I want traditional preferences, and you've just said you want traditional preferences as
Yeah.
well, but you've found issues
No,
with
I get
my
what you're
traditional
saying.
preferences.
I think it's because the traditional preferences that you're saying are what a lot of people are fighting so hard to change at the minute. If you get what I
So
mean. Like,
people are fighting.
if it stayed the same, that men just wanted people that had low body counts, never had sex,
Okay.
weren't sexual beings, you know what I mean, then women would still be lower than men. You know what I mean?
I get what you.
So-
I get the point. I understand the point Keen's making.
Yeah, I know- I
know.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a general term, I think we would try to
I'm
say.
just arguing it back, but I do get what you're saying.
So
But I mean,
again,
we
it goes
prefer
back to
modesty.
that one of the main
So-
things about feminism, which is the reality, is that they are about choice, freedom of choice. You can make the decisions you want. Okay, so
No.
you
No.
said that a lot of women, I presume, but just people in general, are fighting to stop that way of thinking.
Yeah.
My way of thinking.
Yeah.
But isn't that removing someone's choice? As in, so does women's increase in choices come at the expense of a man's choices?
Yeah, sure, yeah. But that's not a bad thing. No.
So you don't. Maybe we're miscommunicating here because I don't want
Yeah,
to paint you
no.
out to be bad or anything.
That's
Because I
fine.
know what you're saying isn't actually like what it is.
I'm not
It sounds
really-
dodgy on camera.
Yeah.
Are you saying that women's increase in choice due to feminism is fine when it comes at the expense of a man's preference?
Which way to nip us on?
So you think
I
it's
get,
fine?
Fine.
like, what you're saying about what women are posting, I don't agree with. I think it's a shame that you think that, but you're allowed to have that choice. Like, maybe I find it a little bit like,
I feel like if everyone just
Offensive,
sat
more
back and was
offensive.
like, it's
Yeah.
fine, like keep them opinions, them old fashioned opinions, and it will never change. I feel like you gotta have people that say like, oh, that's the wrong way of thinking, you know?
yeah, true.
Well,
True.
what defines the wrong way of thinking? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you just said that, people shouldn't sit back and just accept that this is my preference, for example, or this is the preference of quite a few guys. But, we sit back and comfortably say, yeah, you've got your preferences.
Yeah.
That's completely acceptable.
They don't know.
Especially when it comes to traditional, but, we're being logical about the situation. We recognise that you have your preferences. Not saying you aren't being logical, I'm talking about in general when it comes to guys.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this. You said you want some traditional preferences. We said, yeah, that's cool. Guys in general are born with the burden of performance. We have to provide certain things if we want any type of sexual access. We need to end up being somewhat successful. We need to work on our looks constantly, same way girls do, of course. There's a lot of stuff that guys have to build up throughout their lives because they're not born with value necessarily. But what was the point that I was trying to make here? Is that
No, wait. Actually, just add on to that. So would you say that women are born with value, while men for value they have to fight for it, they have to make that value in life?
I would say so.
I say we have
Would
to
you agree
fight
with
for it
that?
as well.
Well, I'm talking.
It's just as much of a fight.
Let's base this purely on sexual market value.
Okay.
Females, their primary sexual market value, we can generally agree, is their looks, yeah? So they're born with their looks. They can improve their looks in certain ways. They can get in the gym, they can put makeup on, they can get surgeries in some instances, and that will improve their value. But for the most part, girls are born with their value. They're born with their looks. You know, a girl can never step into the gym ever throughout their whole life and they can still have a great body. Whereas guys, they can't afford to do that, really. If a guy remains a bum, he will remain a bum for the rest of his life. He has to work to make the money in order to have any girl look her way. Whereas a girl, you know, it's weird to say in this day and age because a lot of girls do put an emphasis on their careers and stuff, but guys don't look at that at all.